Hey everyone, welcome back to XVolt Extras, and today I'm making this quick little review video because earlier today I discovered a game called Indigo Park, and I had seen some fan art of it prior to today, actually earlier today, and I'm like, and then I found the game when I was browsing on Steam, and I'm like, huh, this is the game that I saw the fan art of. I should take a look at it, and I saw it was free. And I saw some reviews and gameplay of it. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of similar to FNAF Security Breach and Poppy Playtime. So I downloaded it and I played through it. Um, and overall, I loved the game. It was one of the first games in a while to actually scare me. Like, I don't play horror games that often, but it actually spooked me in a lot of parts. Um, I really love Rambly Raccoon. He is like the AI that kind of runs the park, and like he kind of helps you through the whole thing. I actually drew fan art of him just a little bit ago because of how much I love him. Cause he's adorable. I love him. I think a lot of the internet does too. But now some things I do want to say. Some criticisms. The game didn't feel very optimized. It was made in Unreal Engine, and it feels like the game didn't really run super well. I mean, I don't have the most powerful PC, but like I usually run games like Teardown at a really good frame rate, like 30 to 60. But this game ran didn't capped out at 30 frames, despite the fact that I didn't have VSync on. Even if I did, it would be 144 as the cap, and I had unlimited frames on by default. And my game would not go above 30 frames, and in some areas it would dip down to almost 15. And I have a ninth gen i7. I have a 9700 i7 with a 1650 Super GPU. So I don't think it was my specs. I think the game wasn't optimized enough. It did look decent. Um, the game did look really good from like a graphics standpoint. I had everything was automatically set to the highest settings when I downloaded the game, and it looked good. Like it looked really good, but I feel like the game does need a little bit of work in terms of kind of that. But I mean, also the game it just came out. It's been in development for the past year. It just came out a couple weeks ago. Chapter 1 is the only one that's out. Chapter 2's probably in development as I'm speaking right now. So I'm sure that they're working on some of the criticisms that they're getting from a lot of creators on YouTube since the games came out. I think when did it came out? It came out on the 18th. That was about 2 weeks ago, a little more than 2 weeks ago. Um, so there a lot of people did describe the gameplay as kind of like a walking simulator, and I do have to agree with that. There is a lot of walking. I did like the collectibles. There was like collectibles that you can collect and get some information on like the lore of things a little bit, and the story of like the person you play as, and even as the park a little bit. I thought that was really cool. Um, there wasn't a lot, of course, because there's only one chapter. Um, I did miss a couple though, so I couldn't get all of them, which means I'd have to play it again. So a little bit of replayability there is always nice. Dialogue was great. I love the characters a lot. That's probably the main strength of this mascot horror game. It is mascot horror, but it is probably the strongest bit of it. The gameplay was okay in general. Um, I wasn't sure if sprinting or the flashlight was gonna be like limited because now spoilers up ahead if you haven't played the game. So if there's spoilers, I recommend like clicking off or whatever if you want to play the game for yourself first. It is free. You can go ahead and try it and then come back here if you want. But there is a chase scene later on in like the Molly's Landing or whatever it's called, where Molly actually chases you through this kids play area. Now, the first time I actually encountered that, I wasn't that scared. Like when I'd see Molly in the corner of like random hallways and through doors, I'd turn around and I thought that was spooky as hell. I was like, oh my god, she's right fucking there. So I was like really spooked out by all that. I was really scared by the whole thing with Lloyd, but I thought that was gonna be more because I was playing. Alright, I'll get to that after I finish talking about the whole thing with Molly. So, there was a whole chase sequence with her, and the first time I saw her, I just kind of was like, oh, hey, there's Molly. And then I got killed instantly because like I kind of just stood there like an oaf, not doing anything because I wasn't really scared by that. I don't know if I had just gotten accustomed to the game, because there definitely a lot of the sounds of the ambience of the whole like park is spooky as hell, and like the Minecraft cave sound esque like random noises was pretty spooky to me. I was quivering for a lot of it. But when it came to that chase sequence, I don't know if I was just like had gotten used to it or if the immersion was gone. I'm not sure what it was. But the second time doing the chase now, it wasn't that spooky because I just kind of turned around and I just went in a straight line. I didn't go in a straight line, but I held the shift key the entire time and ran. It's very similar to the Poppy Playtime chase, but like I actually played Poppy Playtime on my old YouTube channel back in 2021, and even though I knew the layout of the thing because I had watched the video because I was too scared to actually do it, the Poppy Playtime chase actually felt scary even when I knew it was coming and I knew the layout of the vents. This one kind of didn't. The whole chase with Molly didn't really feel like oh my god, go 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 go. It didn't really feel like that. It was just kind of I held shift and just kind of moved my mouse around like, oh yeah, I gotta go here, I gotta go here, I gotta jump. It actually took me 2 times running through the maze to actually do it, because the first time Molly caught up to me somehow. I think because I actually did have to make a turn and I almost ran into her in another kind of like tunnel when I had to make a left into another kind of like playground hallway. But I think the only like real like shock part of the whole chase thing was when right at the end of the chase when you run into like a staff only area, and Rambley is like, hey, you're not supposed to be staff area, and then sees Molly and he's like, oh shit, get in here. And then as soon as you walk in, he waits to close the door, so that Molly starts running towards you, and then the door closes and cuts her head off, and there's blood everywhere. That was the most intense part of the whole chase, the ending. So I feel like maybe this just wasn't very strong. The environments in general were very well made. There's a puzzle right before that was kind of like, it took me 2 tries to do it because it was a really easy puzzle. At first I didn't know, it was like shapes and colors. You're supposed to know the colors, but the first time I only looked at the shapes, so I was like, oh, why isn't it working? I was like, oh, because the colors. There's another box, a purple box, which I don't know what it does. I think it just starts the whole thing. But now back to what I was going to talk about earlier about Lloyd. There's a bit where in order to actually get to the whole, like, oh, my speaker's on. Whoops. That was my Discord, not yours. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Before you go into like this whole like Molly area, I forgot the name of it. Before you go in there, you have to go towards it, and then Rambley will tell you, oh, you need a key for it. It's in the backstage. So you have to go over to Lloyd's stage. You walk in and you see Lloyd, like some kind of, I don't know if it's an animatronic or if it's like a live animal kind of thing. But given the fact that Molly's head gets cut off and there's blood fucking everywhere when that happens, I think they're alive in some way. I don't know why. I think that'll be explained in later chapters. But Lloyd's thing creeped the absolute hell out of me. Lloyd's stage area like really fucking scared me. Going in there, I saw him right in front of me, and as soon as he left, I was like, nope, I'm out. But then of course I couldn't leave, so I had to walk up to the stage. Rambley says, oh, I can't see you in the backstage, so please be cautious. And then the friend I was playing the game with, someone was watching me, they were telling me there's a chase scene there, which they were right, but not in the way that I thought it would be. Like, I was really scared in that whole backstage area. I was like, what is it doing? I had to go through this whole maze and get a key. And there was one point where Lloyd actually does jump out, but then get crushed by, like, boxes. And it was that I thought that's when the chase would begin. So I actually ran out of the backstage area. And then when nothing happened, I went back in, I got the keys, I kept hearing noises, and I was like, oh god. So as soon as I left this little office area, I ran through the backstage, just holding down the shift key, going down through the whole layout while just sprinting the entire time. Again, no sprint cooldown, because I guess if there was a sprint cooldown, you'd be caught by Molly almost instantly and die. Um, so I just kind of ran around, and the actual chase sequence, there is no chase sequence. It's really just once you get to the end of the backstage to leave to the actual stage, the door's shut and you have to put like your wristband up to it. But then as soon as you do that, Lloyd attacks you. But then your character does something that makes Lloyd like and like makes him like hide. And then he's gone. That was literally it. It wasn't really much. The anticipation, I think, of the chase sequence was, it was actually like freaking me out a little bit. But then the rest of the game was actually like, the beginning of the game was like, a lot of it was very spooky throughout the whole thing. And like a lot of the developers did a really good job of actually building the environment, having a lot of the ambience, but I feel like the actual scary parts of it, like with the whole chase with Molly and the whole thing, like, didn't really feel very well. I'm not sure why. I don't know if other people share the same sentiment as me, but that's just how I felt about it. There was a lot of invisible barriers, which I found really annoying. I think the most annoying part was in a gift shop when you like first enter into the park, and Rambley's trying to tell you like, oh, you need a little thing, because I was trying to just exploring around, and there's this area where it looks like you can just hop over the turnstile because there's a stone there, but there's an invisible wall blocking you. They could have done a little bit better job of blocking that off. And then when you go into the gift shop to actually get the wristband, there's invisible barriers stopping you from going into the thing the wrong way. You have to go in through a specific way. Just thought that was pretty annoying. But yeah, a lot of the graphics looked really good. The worst bit of optimization, I gotta say, was when you enter the main plaza area, like after you get through the train ride. Cause I'll get to the train ride later, cause I'm all out of order here. I'm running through the game backwards basically because of recency or whatever. But after the train ride, you get plopped in like a plaza. That plaza kind of kills your frame rate, cause while at the very beginning of the game I was getting a solid 30 FPS, dipping sometimes down to 25. And as soon as I entered that plaza, I dipped down to like 20, 25 max, and I would like. But once you get closer to the clock tower in the distance, where the whole junction kind of like Molly area is, and where also the first information center is, it kind of, you could see the rocks loading in, which not only kind of kills the immersion, but it also kind of affects your frames a little bit. And then prior to that, when you actually are first walking into the theme park, once you get through the turnstiles and you have to walk into the whole train area. When you walk in, there's like a hallway. You have to go through these two little, like, you have to go into this little building. But once you go in, a loading screen begins. And once the loading screen is done, of course, because it's a whole new area, I turned around almost instantly, and there was just rocks blocking the way that I just came in. Like, you could have at least made it a little more realistic, because I was like, yeah, because the moment I walk into that thing, a huge rock slide happens and blocks my way out. I feel like maybe they could have done a little bit of a better job of that. But I'm sure there was like no easy way, because it was just a whole like connect area. It would have been just one long connected area, and it makes sense if they split it up there. It just kind of, maybe you're not supposed to look backwards, but like you kind of have to. So you're supposed to go straight, but maybe that's on me. Maybe I wasn't supposed to look backwards, but that's just something really that I noticed. What else? One really nitpicky thing in the very beginning, when you first meet Rambley and you sit down at the desk to do the whole registration thing, Rambley says it's Tuesday, some kind of Tuesday deal. I don't know if that's an issue with like his internal system, but when you look on the computer screen, it says, oh, today is Saturday, October 7th. It doesn't give a year at any point. They actually hide the year in a lot of things, either putting XXXX or just straight up covering it up. But I just, maybe that was like a mistake on like the part of Rambley's internal systems, because then again, like, he had been abandoned for 8 years, and he was like, oh, you're the first one here in 2,900 days. Oh my god. Let me see. What was I gonna search up again? Yeah, I'll just look into this later. But Okay, I decided to look up Saturday, October 7th to see like what would pop up, and coincidentally, Saturday, October 7th was in 2023, which is when the game first started development. So coincidentally, 2023. It probably doesn't take place in 2023, but whatever. It's just I'm sure like Game Theory will get on that sometime soon, especially since GT Live's already played it, and probably a lot of other YouTubers. Speaking of that, I kind of hope that this game doesn't get too big. I'm not saying that because I don't want to see the creators have success. I do want to see the creator have success because they made a really good game. They made a good game that, of course, does need some work. I don't know what the history of stuff is. And I think I want to see them go far. I'm just saying that from the standpoint of you've seen where Five Nights at Freddy's goes. You've seen where Poppy Playtime goes. You've seen where a lot of these, like Garden of Ban, all that stuff. I don't want it to get to a point where people like LankyBox take the game and bastardize it, especially like what they do with the Digital Circus, whatever it's called. So that's just my main concern about the game, that it's going to be taken by that crowd of people and completely exploited for views. I mean, they're already making fake plushies of it, and there is a real official like makeshift a plushie on Makeshift, which I'm looking into getting. There's like 2 weeks until that like ends, so I might get it, I might not, I don't know. I already have a lot of plushies back there, so I might get more, who knows. But yeah, overall I give it a 9 out of 10. Absolutely would play Chapter 2. Whether it's free or paid, I'd absolutely do it. I want to continue where this game goes. Because, like, Poppy Playtime I wasn't really that excited about. Like, I played Chapter 1, and that was really it. I didn't really play Chapter 2 when it came out. I think it was paid, and I didn't really care about the game by then anyway. And I also feel like the characters in this game are more lovable than Poppy Playtime characters, because Poppy Playtime were like solely for the purpose of making you scared, and I think it allows the way that this game is structured allows people to develop a relationship with Rambly, because in Poppy Playtime it's very similar to FNAF Security Breach, because again it does seem like a really good mix of those two games. It takes the best of both games. Unlike, it doesn't have the bugginess of Security Breach when it first came out, because I remember that. But it kind of takes, like, the whole thing with Rambly is kind of like the thing that FNAF Security Breach had with Freddy, with Rockstar Freddy, was it? I forgot what they're actually called. But with Freddy, with Glamrock Freddy, that's what his name is. It kind of takes that concept with Glamrock Freddy, and you saw how a lot of people felt really attached to Glamrock Freddy, because, you know, he was your companion throughout the whole game, and, you know, he called you Superstar and stuff, similar to how Rambly calls you his buddy, something like that. So I feel like that's a lot of that parallel there. So it's like not as like alone as Poppy and mysterious as Poppy Playtime. I feel like Poppy Playtime maybe tried too hard, given probably the history of the people who made it. But I feel like this game has some real potential, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. So thank you for not watching up to this part, because I doubt anyone watched 20 minutes of me rambling about this new game that I just happen to really like. So thank you, and if the developers are watching this, you guys did a really good job. I feel like you guys can only do better from here, and I'm really looking forward to what you guys are putting out next for this game, and I am all for it. All right, thank you.